Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pinal County Community College District Governing Board meeting of September 16th, 2025. And we'll call this meeting to order and note that everybody's here. And then if you'll please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next we have adopt the agenda. I just want to announce we're moving the call to the board, item 13, ahead of the executive session. And with that, I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, motion second to adopt. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda is adopted. Okay, next we have call to the public. Do we have anybody? Okay, we have nobody on the call to public. So nobody signed up? All right. We'll move forward. Under action items, consideration of consent agenda. And the consent agenda items are listed. A, the minutes, May 20th. Personnel report, resolution of support for foreign trade zone. Combined resolution affecting county treasurer, 2025-26. External funded budget, 2025-26. Intergovernmental agreement, law enforcement radio dispatch services contract. That's what our consent. Does anybody want to pull any items off consent? Okay, hearing none, we'll keep the consent agenda items. Please, I'll look for a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adopt the consent agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda adopted. So Richard will be happy out there. Richard Wilkie, we adopted it. Welcome. And then number 6, discussion, approval, disapproval of institutional plans. Dr. Jackie Elliott.
Good afternoon, President Lopez, governing board members, Mary Lou, faculty, staff, and guests. So this is an action item for the board, as resulted from, if you recall, in the spring of 2024, we had our Higher Learning Commission visit. The peer reviewers did a very thorough job, but they suggested that we develop some longer term, not 10-year like people used to do, but longer term 3 to 5 year master plans, specifically focusing on academics, budgeting, facilities, enrollment, staffing, recruitment, and information technology. So these are the first 3 plans that have been completed. All of these plans have been taken to the President's Cabinet for approval and to ensure linkage, because when you're doing a plan to add academic programs, you need to make sure that your recruitment and enrollment plan matches that as well. So I do want to recognize the individuals here that had put in time and effort in these plans that are presented today. Dr. Heath, Andy Long, Dave Leanhouse for the enrollment management plan, Dr. Gilliland, obviously, for the academic plan, and Michelle may have had some help with the budget plan process. And hopefully at our next board meeting, you'll see the other 3 plans that will be coming for your approval. So hopefully you had a chance to review them. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
Any questions from the board? Yes, Doctor.
Just a comment, I guess, not a question. And thank you to everybody that was involved in putting those plans together, because the reality is, as we all know, that plans don't mean a whole heck of a lot. It's the planning process that's important, because we learn so much about ourselves and get to think deeply about where we're going and what we are and so on. By the time the plan is approved and printed and distributed, it will be out of date anyway. And so we don't worry too much about that, but just an observation.
I appreciate that observation. I think you'll notice that there's probably a paragraph or sentence in every one of these plans that says it's agile, and we will review them every year and make modifications as needed. However, it is, I think the team is really happy to have these blueprints in place that give us some structure and some guidelines moving forward.
Okay, now the next item is number 7.
Oh, you need to vote.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the item. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. Now, item number 7, first reading anti-hazing policy. Dr. Heath?
Governing board members, colleagues, students, and guests. So today we have the first reading for the anti-hazing policy, and this was created by
Hazing, Campus Hazing Act Amendment, Higher Education Act of 1965. As hazing continues, or while hazing continues to be addressed also in our student conduct and other areas of our work,
we were directed to have a standalone policy for anti-hazing at all of college.
across the nation. So today is the first reading for that new policy. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them in preparation for the second reading at the next governing board meeting for a formal, hopefully, vote by the governing board.
Any questions? Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is number 8, first reading of academic transfer policy. Dr. Gilliland? Did I pronounce that right?
Good afternoon, Board Chair, members of the board, Dr. Elliott, Mary, colleagues. I have brought also before you a first reading of a policy. This is the transfer policy. We actually have a transfer policy currently at CAC, so rather than being an entirely new policy, this is a modification and kind of an expansion. We were tasked by the Higher Learning Commission to update our transfer policy to be in keeping with some policy changes at their end. And in particular, they want our policy to be public-facing, so that students are aware of how we transfer credits in, opportunities there are for them to transfer out. And I'm sorry about this mic. I don't know how to quite fix that in and out. I should just step away. I don't know. So anyway, this is the first reading, and it will also move locations. Right now it's in the catalog, but we want to find another way for it to be a little more visible to our students so that they're fully aware of what those practices are at the college. So at this point, there is no action required. The policy is in your board packet, and there's also a procedure included for the reference. And this is an opportunity for questions before the second reading, and then we would request a vote at that second reading. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Would have any questions? Dr. Reed? None yet.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, next we'll move on to reports. Number 9, report from college president, Dr. Jack Elliott.
Thank you. A couple quick reports. I always try to give you a construction update. We are nearing the square footage negotiation phase of the new Performing Arts Center. We have had to make some adjustments in what was originally planned, but nothing too elaborate. So we hope to be finalizing the square footage, what will be located in the new building, and begin the next phase, which will be construction. Enrollment update, I'm happy to announce that this fall, we were looking at almost 600 up in enrollments for students. So our enrollment is really strong. Great, a huge thanks to the enrollment services team for being out there and ensuring that we have a strong enrollment. Earlier this last semester, we received a notice from the Higher Learning Commission, and many institutions across the state received this notification. It was basically a preemptive report or a preemptive move on the Higher Learning Commission's part to say, hey, if the new administration puts in bright lines, student success bright lines, here are some areas you need to look at and perhaps have a plan for improvement. So Dr. Gilliland, Dr. Heath, they put the team together with deans. They came up with a plan for student success indicators, and we received a very glowing report back from them on our plan to ensure that if bright lines are put in place by the administration, we will be able to enact some of those strategies and make sure that we're meeting them. On miscellaneous, I hate to inform you of this, but it's important to know that we have received notification from the Department of Ed of discontinuation of a couple of our key grants. Our teams are working really hard to figure out how we can continue some employment for employees, how we can also maybe absorb some of the services that the students have been accustomed to. We are writing for extensions. We've reached out to the governor's office, who's very interested in trying to help us. You know, it's coming from the federal government. These are our Hispanic Serving Institution grants and our TRIO grants, which breaks my heart because you all know I'm a product of TRIO programs. However, these are the times we live in, and we're very fortunate that we have strong team members that have been working tirelessly to figure out how we can be agile and continue serving our students in the manner that we always have wanted to. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions from the board? Yes, Doctor.
When do that loss of grants kick in? When will the programs be impacted?
September 30.
Okay.
Well, what the upper bound was. They could be through next year. Again, it depends on if we get the extensions, which we have applied for.
Thank you.
But it's a no-cost extension.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Next, we have our Business Affairs Report, number 10. Michelle Clapp, monthly budget report.
Hello, good afternoon, President Lopez, Governing Board members, Dr. Elliott, Mary Lou, staff and guests. You have in your packet the monthly budget report. The monthly budget report reflects the year-to-date through July of 2025. July 2025 shows the district's operating fund expenditures are at 2.14% of the total budget. This is a decrease of 3.08% from July of 2024, which was at 5.22%. Any questions?
Any questions?
Okay. Also included in your packet are the awarded bids over $100,000. Any questions on those?
It's pretty clear. Any questions from the board on any of the bid items over 100,000? No, I think we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have number 11, Academic Affairs WIG report. Dr. Gilliland.
Pat, do you want to come on with me? Yeah. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Board Chair Lopez, members of the board, Dr. Elliott, Mary Lou, colleagues and guests. We are very happy to be here this afternoon to share with you some of the work that's been done in the academic division to work towards our strategic plan, our goal of achieving 70% retention by 2027. And so we are bringing several of the groups that are working on their own battle wigs to talk about what they have done. I'm going to introduce our still relatively new dean, Dr. Pat Moroy, and he's going to, he's going to give you a little bit more information about it and introduce the faculty that are going to speak. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Gillen. Good afternoon, board members. So yes, I'm Pat Moyer. I'm the new Academic Dean of Arts and Sciences, and what we want to do is share with you 3 of our WIG programs, so you get to actually hear what's going on in the trenches right now. But just a couple points that I wanted you to be aware of, maybe, and understand, and maybe keep an eye out, is the WIG is 70% by 2027, but I think in the brilliance of this design, each unit and division was allowed to come up with the autonomy to develop what makes sense for their division. And so I love that. It's been very inspiring for me in the short amount of time that I've been here to see how aligned each of the departments is under the leadership of the chairs. They've done a very good job of aligning their units and using this to galvanize their faculty. It's really been impressive for me. And so one of the things that I want you to listen really carefully about that is really pretty special is how they're connecting with individual students. And what you're going to hear is a connection with the students and what makes sense to connect with each of the students and maybe what their individual challenges are. And so we're really meeting students where they are on an individual basis, which is really inspiring to me and I think is part of the reason that we're seeing such success with this. So I'm going to end with that. We're going to have 3 units for you. One is a shared program between literary arts and skilled trades, and then you're going to hear from visual and performing arts, and then you're going to hear from mathematics, and they're each about 5 minutes in length. So thank you for your time, for listening, and we'll bring up the literary arts and skilled trades group.
And if I might just add, we don't have a clicker, so just signal to our folks here.
That's going to be Lou's whole
Good afternoon, board members and my amazing colleagues. We're really excited to be here to get to share our combined effort between the Literary Arts and Skilled Trades Division. So for those of you who don't know, we are married, and that's probably what brought this to be. However, our divisions have stayed connected since we began working at CAC. So this seemed like a natural thing for us to do, and he as division chair and Tatiana as our division chair, we're really excited at the idea. So without further ado, my name is Skyla Teal. This is my husband, Louis. You can go ahead to the next slide. So we wanted to give you, you can go to the next one, they kind of talked over that part. So they gave you an overview that we are connecting ours, and collaboratively we've come up with our goal, which is to promote services in the areas of student engagement, tutoring, advising, and then health and wellness by posting and sharing weekly focused messages and involving students in a variety of relevant activities. You can go to the next slide. So what we decided was the most natural was to divide the semester into 4 different areas. Our first area being student engagement right when the semester begins, because there's so much going on and we want to get students connected to those different types of activities throughout the campuses. Leading out of that and going into weeks 4 through 8, we focus on tutoring, which that's typically the time we're starting to prepare for midterms. Going into that 8th week, students, reality sets in and they need a little extra help, so we connect them to those services. And then weeks 9 through 12, we focus heavily on advising, because that is naturally when our next semester registration opens. And we found a lot of success with engaging the advisors in our own classrooms, as well as physically showing our students how to make appointments with advisors. Some of us, myself included, allow extra credit for meeting with an advisor, getting your schedule set for next semester, and then working with that advisor and making their career plan after that. And then we end our semester with weeks 3 through 16, our health and wellness, just making sure that everybody is focusing on taking care of themselves, that we remember that at the end of the day, this is important, but these are only grades, and we're gonna all get through this together. That's an important message that we all share with our students. You can go ahead to the next slide. Just briefly, some of the different things we do on the previous slide would be posting, it could be as simple as posting something silly, a little meme to our students. Collaboratively, our 2 divisions faculty members have given all of the ideas. We have a Blackboard shell that we share. We share ideas amongst each other. We don't steal, but we steal for each other's ideas. Yeah, it's free and it's fine. And it allows for autonomy of each professor for what works for our students. If we see something in our class is more of a need, and we have a face-to-face class that we can physically walk them to the Learning Center, we do that. If it's an online class, it might be posting the link that we've created that shows how to submit an essay to an online tutor. So it just allows us that flexibility, but still keeps us on track. So we have found a lot of benefits to this approach, mostly that our 2 divisions are focused and we are consistent in our messaging, but it's not the exact same message, but it's around the same theme. It's allowed for creativity amongst our faculty, and we are able to share and talk with each other in English and Spanish world, and then heavy equipment, diesel and welding worlds, kind of 2 worlds collide. And then, like I said, it has allowed for that collaboration from our different divisions, and really has given us an opportunity to understand how many of our students we do have in common, because we serve as so many prerequisite classes in our division. You can go to the next slide. So what we measured was our faculty participation, since we didn't have any data from first to second semester retention right out of the gate starting in spring. What we decided to focus on was really getting our faculty on board with this initiative. And we are proud to say that we had 100% participation from both divisions for our full-time faculty. We've also put this out to our adjunct faculty and encouraged their participation, and many of them are doing that as well. So we're happy to see that they're kind of getting on board with us. And then we focus on students' familiarity with the college services at the beginning versus the end of the semester. We measured that with a survey, a pre and post survey, and we saw growth in all of those areas. We're looking forward to this year when we can really measure first to second year retention rates, and we'll be able to report that to you next year. You can go to the next slide. These are our continued goals. I think they're pretty implied in everything I've said. We are really enjoying what we're doing. We're finding that tethering our students to these services is really rewarding for us as faculty, and we are seeing success from our students. Many of us have been doing these things for many years, but to actually have an organized effort has been kind of a good undertaking for all of us. And we will be looking to collect data on first to second semester retention and key courses. These are all first year courses that freshmen would be taking so that we can see how they carry on to the next semester. Okay, next slide. And that was the end of our presentation. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Any questions from the board?
No questions.
Great
Okay.
presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate your time. Thanks.
Afternoon, board members, President Lopez, Dr. Elliott, Mary Lou, guests, and colleagues. I remembered them all, my goodness. My name is Sue Taddison and I am Visual and Performing Arts Chair. Could I have the next slide, please? So first we'll start, mine is a very visual presentation, it's mostly photos, but we'll start with the declared majors across all of our programs. The Digital Media Arts program has 171 declared majors. Our Fine Art AA Studio Art has 68. Our Fine Art AA Music has 38. And our Entertainment Industry Technology program has 38 declared majors. Primarily, the fine art and the entertainment industry students are in person. They're face-to-face classes. So our challenge, the challenge that I have found we had, is the digital media arts students are 100% almost now online. So in an effort to improve retention, I wanted to create a cohort so that the students had the opportunity to get to know one another in person again, like they did prior to COVID and before everything changed. Next slide, please. So our first, and I'm very grateful that we were able to create these wigs autonomously, that we knew what would fit our programs. So the first, our first wig that we decided as a department was a welcome event for all newly registered visual and performing arts students. And the second wig was all about updating and revising all our 100 level classes, the Blackboard course shells, and that was across all programs. That was to improve the art programs, EIT, music. We wanted to make everything more engaging for the students because even though they have a face-to-face, there is always an online component. And CAC has recently implemented the UJAR platform, which is a fabulous platform where we can upload videos and check student participation with these videos, which is very important with the online classes. Next slide, please. So beginning mid-July, we sent out email blasts, text message blasts to all new students, as well as current students, as well as alumni. And we did that constantly every week. Next slide would be great. We were very excited. We had over 80 participants at this event. Probably I would say 60 students, but they also brought family members, they brought friends. And I was very excited to have several alumni there. Next slide, please. We had activities for them. And, you know, just a great time was had by all. The music department had musicians there in the EIT program. They had folks singing, and it was great, it really was. Dr. Moyer attended, and I think he enjoyed himself. It was one of his early welcomes. And the next slide, please. And this is really exciting. This young gentleman, his name is Q, and he graduated in 2017, and he is working with Apple now. And he's a brilliant artist, so he did free caricatures for the students who were there. And that's me with him, of course, and that's Dan Bush. And the next slide, please. And these are the characters that he drew for some of the students that were there. And so they all had a great time just being drawn. You know, it was fun, and it was a great way for me to meet students that I wouldn't typically meet anymore. So it was great. And the next one, please. And then, of course, week number 2 was our Blackboard online classes. This is just an example. This is DMA 130, digital photography, and this was the 24 section. And as you'll see, all the material is there. You know, you have your weekly sessions, but it's very dry. It's just text. It's not very engaging. So now, could I have the next slide? This is how our online classes look. So, you know, I feel that they've gone ahead in leaps and bounds, and we've done that across the board. We've done this for our art classes, EIT, music, and of course DMA. So we're really excited. I'm really excited that we use Blackboard. You know, I have used other systems like Canvas at other institutions, and Blackboard has gone ahead in leaps and bounds too, and allows us to make our classes more engaging. So they were our wigs, and what we've done so far. Of course, our final step will be comparing fall 24 and spring 25, and then in spring 26 we're going to look at our retention rates and report back, and hopefully they've increased. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Great presentation, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ricardo Villa. I'm the math division, and I just want to give you a plan update from spring 25 to fall 25 as to kind of what we're doing. Next, our goal is to increase meaningful connection with first-term math students, especially those showing early signs of struggle. For example, low attendance and poor grades. Next. What we are doing, the way our plan of attack was to create a faculty spreadsheet tracking outreach to first-term students. In that spreadsheet, our goal was to have individual tabs so that each full-time faculty member knew exactly who their first-term students were for all their classes. On a weekly basis, we also, and this is all in the spring, we also had weekly updates, and we talked about how many students did you try to connect. We talked about what type of connection did you have. Now, the most important thing is the type of connection, right? Is it a meaningful connection, right? I could simply send an email out to the masses, and that's not a meaningful connection, right? It's did you have a two-way conversation? And then, of course, the follow-up actions. Did you direct them to the learning, especially for the tutoring services, maybe Title V or TREE or whatnot? Next. And here is our data. We grabbed this data from the spreadsheet. 78 of our 169 first-term students in full-time faculty math courses, we were able to create that meaningful connection. Which is 78 of 220 total students across all math sections. Now, if we focus on the 46.15%, that's for full-time faculty, and then the 35.45%, that's for all the classes, all the math classes across the board. And our hope is that those two pieces of information would allow us to increase the third one. Now, again, these are all baselines. Our spring 25 is all baselines, and our goal is to increase them in the fall. So if you look at that, 118 of our 233 math students were actually retained through the end of the term, meaning They didn't withdraw, they didn't quit, they finished all the way through. Regardless of the grade, they went all the way through. And that is 50.64% of our math students. Next slide. I do want to have a faculty spotlight for 3 faculty members. Our first place faculty member was Andy Wilson. He was able to have meaningful connection baseline with 11 students. And in second place, we have Professor Brittany Cooperrider, who's here from Maricopa, and Professor Ali Payrabi. They both had 9 meaningful connections with first-term students. Next slide, please. And I know you can't see this very well, but this is kind of what our tracker looks like. The first 3 columns, that is the information that we give to the faculty so they know exactly what class and what modality and the name of the student, so they know exactly who they're targeting. The next column talks about the faculty outreach. Who did they talk? What faculty reached out to those students? Did you connect? In other words, did you have that meaningful connection? And how did you do that, right? Was it through Blackboard Messenger? Was it through a phone? Was it in person and during the class? And then also, did you get them to attend your office hours, your mentoring hours? Because I feel like once you get them in the office hours, you know, it speaks so much, right? Because they'll ask you for help, they become accustomed to coming into your office, asking questions, and we actually called it mentoring because we didn't want them to think that they're only there for math. It could be for anything. We're just here to help them out. And also, we kept track of any requests they had outside of the math division, right? Again, did they want to go, you know, did they have information on tutoring? Did they request information on tutoring in our programs that we have here at CAC? Next slide. And all of that was spring 25. For the fall 25, which is now current, our goal is to improve our scoreboard highlights by 20%. So we would like our connection of 35.45 to go up to about 42%. We would like to have our retention to go from 50.64 to about 60%, a little higher than 60%. That is our goal. We would also like to start including our adjunct taught courses in our outreach tracking, since we only focus on full-time. And lastly, we noticed that we were curious about when students wanted to have that meaningful connection. Was it at the very beginning? Was it after their first test, right? Or was it right before the withdrawal deadline? You know, we wanted to know, when did they start trying to engage? I feel like that would be a good timeline analysis. Next. And that's all I have. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Any questions?
Any questions from the board? Especially Dr. Reed.
Again, more of a comment. I'm reassured that we're clearly on the right track, engaging students and faculty, and I know that because Visual and Performing Arts had a party and brought us pretty pictures. Math built a spreadsheet and brought us data to 2 decimal points. We're clearly doing it right. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, it seems like the math is always a challenging portion for students, especially they fall behind. It's hard to catch up, so I'm glad you have.
Yeah. Math is always harder than statistics.
Any other questions? Great presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now we have, as I said before, we're going to do our call to the board before we go on to executive session. So I'll start with Dr. Ordeon on the end there, please.
Nothing from me today. Thank you.
Okay. Member Sheila Muley, do you have anything for the call to the board?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No.
Member Kasuga.
Just a comment. I was attending the League of Arizona Cities and Towns Conference a couple of weeks ago, and of course there was workforce development sessions for local elected officials, and certainly community colleges, and you know, there's shout outs to CAC by our local elected officials here in Pinal County. So just kudos because of all the work that you all do, and And I'm sure Richard Wilkie back there, as the economic development professional from the city of Casa Grande, is aware of what the impact of CAC. So thank you from all of the folks that are taking advantage of the college.
All right. Mr. Walker.
Yes, I wanted to make a comment about the events that have occurred this last week. I wanted to mention that Charlie Kirk was murdered by an assassin's bullet. This was obviously done by someone who does not believe in or respect freedom of speech. Charlie was only 5 years old when I retired from the Navy. We don't know who God is going to bring to our attention to do His work with young people. As far as I'm concerned, I am Charlie Kirk. Excuse me. I am Charlie Kirk. And I believe in freedom of speech. And I believe in doing the right thing. And everyone has a right to an opinion. They don't have to agree with me. That's not a requirement. You don't have to agree. I want you to know that there's some folks here in this room that I don't agree with either. And that's okay. Let's just do our best to muddle through and see who God brings on the stage. Because He's going to bring someone. And I'm going to support him. Thank you.
Thank you. The only thing I have is I'm really looking forward to the Performing Arts building moving forward, and that's going to be really exciting when we get that going. And I want to thank everybody for all the presentations and everything they did, and all your hard work. As Member Kasuga said, at the League of Cities and Towns, they really spoke well of the college, and it's great to hear that from different members. So thank you all, and I see we got mascot Hudson here, and thank you, him. And with that, I'll have a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second? Okay, a motion second to go into executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We will be in executive session.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion. We came back into regular session, and we had Jerry made the motion. Sheila made the second to come back out of executive session. So we're back in regular session. Okay, being now in regular session, then I declare this meeting adjourned.
Thank you all.
Meeting adjourned.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thank you.